what happens when universities, once symbols of enlightenment, turn into spaces of silence, fear, and injustice? What if the very hands that shape minds begin to suppress them? Across continents, from Ivy League halls to underfunded campuses, a quiet revolution is unfolding. Students are no longer whispering, they are rising, and the world must listen before the next classroom turns into a courtroom. In an age where education is no longer confined to classrooms, students are not just learners, they are change makers. Around the globe, young voices are rising, not in defiance of teachers, but in defense of transparency, dignity, and academic justice. Universities today are no longer mere centers of knowledge. They are platforms where justice, equity, and human dignity are being redefined. Students, once considered passive, are now demanding their rightful place, challenging outdated norms and calling out systemic bias in education. Historically, the teacher has held an exalted position. Philosophers like Aristotle and Iqbal regarded educators as builders of the human spirit. But in the modern university, the relationship has evolved, or perhaps complicated. It's no longer just a bond of knowledge sharing, but a dynamic of power and sometimes abuse of that power. From a student in the US refusing to shake hands at graduation, to thesis delays at UCL, caste and religious discrimination in JNU, silent protests in Pakistan, and curriculum reform in South Africa, students worldwide are standing up. Through social media campaigns, legal action, public boycotts, and critical research, resistance is becoming an intellectual force. Faculty reactions range from denial to dialogue. Progressive institutions are now exploring peer-reviewed teaching, anonymous evaluations, and mandatory ethics training. Legal frameworks like Title IX in the US, UK's Higher Education Act, and South Africa's academic codes are reshaping accountability. Pakistan's HEC has made attempts, but transparency remains elusive. So what comes next? Reform or repression? This is not a war between students and teachers. It is a shared struggle for fairness, dignity, and truth. If educators respond with empathy instead of ego, we can build a system where learning is free from fear and full of purpose. If this story opened your eyes to a side of education you rarely see, then don't let the message end here. Subscribe to Global Chapters, turn on the bell icon, and stand with students around the world who dare to question, demand, and dream. Because silence is no longer an option.